Hello and welcome to Moonride. I'm Dave Johnson, channeling today. Now, if you'd like some direct answers about a certain president, go to Expanding Soul Energy. We just use some rods, and there's some great stuff with Linda and I. I'll put the link up here. Today, I'm just going to do predictions. I want to look at, first of all, the Epstein files have come back, about time. It's incredible how well the media can follow Trump's new distractions with things like the fake war in Iran. But let's take a look, and I would like to find out about the Epstein files. These people have not gotten any kind of justice, and it's extremely important, I think, that we look at that, and I'll see if there's a couple other things at the end. So, starting with, are these people going to get justice? Are they going to get, um, you know, some form of justice in regard to this? So this is what I'm seeing. There's sort of a V shape, and there's all this stuff there, all this heavy stuff, and much of it will not be resolved. But there's a slice. There is a sort of maybe 25, 30% that will get justice. So I'm sure this is not great comfort to you, and it certainly isn't to me. But it does show that if we pursue this, some justice will be delivered. Some of the people who did things will, in some way, be punished. So, there's that. And let's ask, how? How is this going to happen? Well, first of all, Trump has to be gone. While Trump is directing these things, they will never, ever find the truth, nor will they act on the truth. So eventually, people like Bondi are going to face courts. So is Todd Blanch, I'd say. So is Cash Patel and others. They are going to have to sit before a court and justify their behaviors, which will mean then they will, make some plea deal where they'll tell some version of the truth. Pam Bondi is sitting in the court. What's interesting is, I've heard that she has cancer, and now she's facing, you know, her maker, right? She's going to have to go, and it is my belief that she will face herself, and she is starting to realize what that's going to be like. She, of course, thinks it's going to be some other kind of judgment. My personal experience, you will judge yourself harsher when you get to the other side than anybody. So, regardless, this is making her consider this. Like, I don't really have the accumulation of money at this point in power isn't really going to matter for me. I've lost power, right? She will be disbarred, among other things. And there's just a sense of desperation, too, of, how am I going to pay for all this? How am I going to pay for my lawyer? She did many things that were wrong. This is just the first. She let a lot of people off the hook in exchange for a bribe because she just wanted fame. She just wanted power. She wanted people to notice her and know that she was easily bought, so they would put her in positions like the one that she has now. And at not remorse, she does not necessarily regret what she did, although maybe just a little bit. It's mostly just fear of retribution, of what's going to happen to her when, you know, she, meets herself. I'm just seeing a very, very unhappy lady there as she's in the court. And just the people in the courtroom really don't like her. That the judge is just like, ew, they're really, it's a lot of it is about the public perception of this. That is, the people in that courtroom, the jury, the judge, how they decide things is affected by the sort of realization of what this really meant. She'll have to face some of the people who she victimized, and, they'll have their day in court. And that's some justice, right? Todd Blanch, seeing him there too. It's a little bit like he's a lost person. Yeah, it's like somebody who would do anything for power, and having done everything they could for power, now they are left with nothing. So again, a little shade of justice. Cash Patel also looks fairly ruined, right? So the people that covered up, they are the ones that are going to take the fall. What about the original perpetrators? Elon Musk has shown up. Remember, he's all over the files. One good thing is we're going to see who he really is. Once we look at some of these things, is he going to court? You know, I'm not entirely sure he will go to court. I keep getting a possibility, but I'm also getting a possibility that he'll just escape. Like Ivanka Trump trying to buy the island, Ivana Trump, I always forget their names. Trump's daughter trying to buy that island. Uh, he thought he'd just build an escape. Oh, yeah, well, I'm rich. I'll just get an island and they won't be able to get me. So that's what he's going to try to do, one way or another. I'm not sure he will succeed, though. So he's trying to escape. Yeah, I think he'll try to make a break for it, but he won't manage it, and he will ultimately go to court. There's a lot of things that he did wrong, including, he's an illegal, he legally maintained his status in the United States. I mean, he should be deported for that. Anything else about Musk? Some things are going to go wrong for Musk, and that is I see one of his Teslas just crashing head on. His rockets disappoint. Everybody starts to sort of realize that it's a big fat scam. Okay, what else is there with those rockets? He's showing me the rockets. Yeah, I anticipate there's going to be something wrong with those rockets. That they don't function the way they're supposed to. Everybody's disappointed. All right. And anything else, Spirit, you can deliver for us regarding Epstein files? Well, I am seeing these people who were survivors, and there's just some vindication that's coming for them. They have changed the dynamic here, and it's really interesting that the Democratic Party wasn't able to change that dynamic. Other things that were supposed to protect Americans were not able to change that dynamic. The people who are changing the dynamic are those survivors. They are the courageous ones, and it's really awesome that they are doing this just to set an example for the future of you don't have to be a silent victim. You can go out and you can get some justice. It's really hard, but look, we did it. So it's important as an example, and it's also important that there's some power here. The people have some power. We have some power to change things, and we can keep putting the pressure on, and go you awesome people that reported and followed this up. There are many of you out there who've had similar things happen to you, and you simply did not have the ability and the wherewithal to move forward like this. And it's a completely unfair world that we live in. And so I really just want to commend those people and all of you. We made this happen. We brought them justice. Justice was not delivered to them. All right, so what else you got for me, Spirit? All right, I'm back in Iraq. Will it ever end? And I'm seeing what I saw before and what I saw yesterday, which is a hole in a ship. And I'm wondering to some degree whether this is symbolic or real, but there's an American ship, it has a big hole in it, it tilts to the side, the sailors, rush out, and they, land in the water, and it's actually a Middle Eastern boat that rescued them. And interestingly enough, it doesn't look like the sailors are badly treated. And this is one way that, we're showing a contrast here. What did the United States do in Venezuela when there were survivors? And here, Iran is showing itself to be a more ethical nation in this regard. I don't want anybody to think that Iran is an ethical place to live. But then again, there aren't that many ethical places to live on this planet. Okay, what's the significance of this? It's just making people reconsider, all of the stereotypes that we have of they're bad and we are good. The world doesn't really believe that anymore. And it has just much greater implications. You know, America used to have some moral standard. By that I mean the United States used to have some moral standard. Some, right? It doesn't have any. I mean, we can't really look at the United States as being better than any other country in a lot of ways, although we really do need to praise those people who responded peacefully. That's the only thing that is holding America together, is a body of people that is responding assertively, peacefully, etc. Just look at the people who are monitoring ICE in various places. That's what democracy looks like. So, all right, let's go back to the war. I'm seeing a suicidal Trump. One thing you might enjoy doing is just a bit of schadenfreude here. It is really, really, really bad in the White House. All those people who signed up for power, like Todd Blanch, are experiencing the consequences. They're embarrassed. People are shunning them. They are, maybe they're working with them, but they don't respect them because they're not worthy of our respect. They're covering up for horrific child abuse. Okay, so what else is going on? White House, show me more. I just get this. If you were working at the White House, would you bring your kid there? It just reputationally appalling, right? You wouldn't say that about Obama, right? And about his White House. It's a den of iniquity. And that actually has a good deal of meaning that we can't like actually put our finger on. It's just like, people don't trust them anymore, and they don't respect them. And every person at the White House is scheming for a way to get out of that job. Like, how could they, just step out? Because they're worried about their reputations, they're worried about getting sued, they're worried about getting in trouble, they're worried about being witnesses against their fellows. They will do anything to get out of this place right now. It's just a question of how, and some of them just can't. They cannot leave because they've been engaged in it so long, they're still kind of engaging in the cover up that will keep them from prison or answering or accounting for what they have done. It's a complete destruction, and we're not seeing this on NBC. It is a complete destruction of the entire thing. It's ironic that Trump has physically destroyed portions of the White House, because the truth is that its essence is being destroyed. Somebody's gonna have to go through there with a, major saging. There's gonna have to be a lot of, saging and shaman just to clean that place up. whatever religion, they're all gonna have to go through there and, de de destroy it, right? So, yeah, right. So, anything else about? Do we know when this war is gonna end? August it will end officially. Again, I've seen with the rods that I was working with for Linda that Trump will have to be gone, and it's going to be Rubio who who is able to make this deal. It'll be the only thing that he ever does of any significance. Okay, so and I'm just gonna look for any whatever you got, Spirit. I'm seeing a country in the east. When I say east, it could be China or Taiwan. Lots of boats are leaving its shores. And they seem to be going a lot of different places. So I'm pretty sure this is China. And it's almost like ships go out in all these directions to sort of claim water territory. And it appears to me to be aggressive. While all you guys are distracted with this nonsense, China is more powerful than it ever was. And they don't actually attack anyone. They're just sort of there to menace and threaten. I know they've done this with a lot of, fisher people, a lot of fishing people in, Malaysia, for example, are just chased out of there, sometimes with water cannons. So this is an expansion. One of the terrible things this present government has done is just given an expansion pass to China. Okay, and there was one more thing that was coming up here. Oh, the sort of terrible cow worm disease. I'm seeing the worms. I'm seeing the cows. Okay, a lot of gross images I'm not going to share. I can't help but get over the irony. We used to think of America as like, cowboy country, and it's just a free place, and the cowboys are running the cattle. All of that is largely untrue, right? Most of the cowboys were black, actually, and nobody ever talks about that. Interestingly enough, we have this sort of stereotype and of wholesome, freedom, and how fake that is now, right? There's not a bunch of cowboys running these animals around. They're stuck in these terrible cages in filthy conditions. You know, really, they're not getting the medical care they deserve. They're just pumped through a full of penicillin, which we're all ingesting. The whole system is busted, and that's what this is showing. This is not a normal or natural way to get food. We had normal natural ways for thousands and thousands of years. What was wrong with them? Well, they didn't deliver mass products that made large businesses money. So understand, this is almost like the universe stepping in and saying, hey, look, your system's messed up. Look, a lot of people are just going to give up eating meat because it's too risky. And they're just going to move on to tofu for the time being. It's safe, it's inexpensive, it's available. Maybe that's not a bad thing. But it causes a lot of misery. In places where they raise cattle, it is really a disaster. And some humans will die because of this. It's interesting. This is like another COVID, right? Trump fired all of the people who would have kept us safe, just like he did under COVID when he got rid of the COVID response team. And it's incredible that some Americans didn't learn that lesson. Now we are going to be faced to learn it again. Interestingly enough, it's the those who are meat eaters, those who are really, really in the right side of our policies that are going to suffer the most. And I don't want to put anybody down who eats meat. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but it just look how look who these policies harm. Getting rid of FEMA, who does that harm? It just shows me that the Trump administration really exists to show us what evil looks like. We have to experience this and know it. Some of us figured that out a long time ago, but we've all got to sit here and watch, you know, a third of the population come to the realization that this is darkness. This is what it looks like. It's a power hungry force that does not care about you. This is what happens when the bully becomes class president. It's sad that we have to learn this. It's sad that some of us who have already learned this have to watch it happen, but it is part of who we are, and it is a movement forward, this discovery. Yes, there is shadowy stuff, and it's not all just light. We have to work with negative forces, and we have to be strong, and we have to learn how to do that. Again, that's not a punishment or anything. It's just like, hey, there is this time to learn. If you are one of those people that figured this out a long time ago, be proud of yourself that you didn't make this mistake. It's important in your generosity that you move in a direction that really helps the situation. And it's important we all help ourselves, right? Go with people who we feel are in the light and doing light work. There is a silver lining here, and there's also just an acceptance. In every lifetime, there's something learned. There's always a resistance. There's always things that we got to get past. So, the silver lining again, there is a lot for us to learn here, and I do believe we were put here at this time to experience and witness this. Thanks so much for watching, and don't hesitate to take a look at Linda's video and my website.